Hello everyone, welcome back to the Gospel of John in 5 minutes. Today we move on to chapter 2, day 4, chapter 2, verses 1 through 12.
On the third day, there was a marriage at Cana in Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus also was invited to the marriage with his disciples. When the wine failed, the mother of Jesus said to him, "They have no wine." And Jesus said to her, "O woman, what have you to do with me? My hour has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Now 6 stone jars were standing there for the Jewish rites of purification, each holding 20 or 30 gallons. Jesus said to them, "Fill the jars with water," and they filled them up to the brim. He said to them, "Now draw some out, and take it to the steward of the feast." So they took it. When the steward of the feast tested the water, now become wine, and did not know where it had come from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew, the steward of the feast called the bridegroom and said to him, "Every man serves the good wine first, and when men have drunk freely, then the poor wine. But you have kept the good wine until now." This, the first of his signs, Jesus did at Cana in Galilee, and manifested his glory, and his disciples believed in him. After this he went down to Capernaum with his mother and his brethren and his disciples, and there they stayed for a few days.
"O woman, what have you to do with me? My hour is not yet come." For a first-time reader of the Scriptures, this line is a little bit puzzling. Jesus' response to his own mother's request, "O woman, what do you have to do with me?" If any of us said that to our mothers when they asked us to do something, probably wouldn't end very well. And yet this is how Jesus speaks to his mother. Why does he speak to her in this way? It's not a disrespectful thing at all. Actually, the reason why Jesus calls her woman is to signify something else about her. See, this is a great thing. We as Catholics, we put a huge emphasis on the Blessed Virgin Mary. And the reason why we do that, part of the reason why we do that, is because of what the Bible teaches about Mary. So here in the Gospel of John, at this wedding feast of Cana, we're given a little insight into that. If you've been following us the last 3 days, you know that in the Gospel of John, it signifies a new creation, right? In chapter 1, for example, the first 3 words are, "In the beginning was the Word," right? What are the first three words of the entire Bible, book of Genesis? In the beginning, right? So John is signifying that Jesus in his coming is inaugurating a new creation. And so we hear him saying, "In the beginning was the Word," in chapter 1. And then if you pay attention, through chapter 1, there's a series of days that John describes. We have the first day with John the Baptist. And then if you pay attention at verse 29 of chapter 1, the next day. All right, so this is the second day. Verse 35, the next day. That's the third day. The fourth day, verse 43 in chapter 1, the next day. And then chapter 2 begins on the third day. All right, so how many days is that? 7 days. Reminds us again of creation. John is signifying that Jesus is inaugurating a new creation. In the beginning. In the book of Genesis, we had 7 days. Here in the Gospel of John, we have 7 days to start off the book. And just like in the book of Genesis, at the end of those 7 days, we hear about a marriage, we hear about a couple, a man and a woman. So likewise here in the Gospel of John, we have an unnamed man, the bridegroom, which we'll read about later on in chapter 2, and also this woman. In a mysterious way, John is alluding to this fact of a new creation. And who is the woman of the new creation? It's Mary, the mother of Jesus. Mary, for us as Catholics, we say that she is a new Eve. And all the church fathers said this too. In the words of St. Paul, Jesus is a new Adam. He reverses everything that Adam caused in the beginning. And so if Jesus is the new Adam and he inaugurates a new creation, there also must be a new Eve as well, which we as Catholics say is Mary. And all the church fathers said it along with us. That's why Jesus refers to her as woman. Not as mom, not as Mary. He calls her woman because at the beginning, in the book of Genesis, that was Eve's name originally. Her name wasn't changed to Eve until after she sinned. So Mary is the new Eve of the new creation, immaculately conceived, never had the stain of sin upon her soul. She is the new woman of this new creation described here by John.